ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a much kinder panel and much more optimistic than the first one, because we will be speaking about solutions. I will still be standing because I want to have a great view here on your presentations, if there are any. And I welcome you all here. And I think we are all very excited to hear about the developments which can contribute to better water. We start with Mrs. Yeun from Kyowon property in South Korea. I understand that you have a nanofiltration system which is quite innovative. Can you tell us about that, please?
The nanofiltration system eliminates almost everything bad and then remained minerals that's beneficial to a health. And I will tell the details in my presentation. Thank you. There will be no place more beautiful and perfect than Lake BWF to discuss the sustainable consumption of premium drinking water that benefits our health. Of course, in addition to Marco's birthplace. Today, I'm honored to present on behalf of Kyowon, Wales, and the Korean International Sommelier Association, the KISA, at the 10th Split Water Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, and Mr. Musar, the first gentleman of Slovenia, I am Yeun, and I'm a food scientist. KISA conducted a research on behalf of the health benefits and taste quality of mineral enriched purified water with support from Kyowon Wales. This is a summary of our collaborative study. In this project, we reviewed literatures on the health benefits of mineral water and identified the optimal mineral blending ratio that produces the best tasting water using Kyowon's advanced purification system. As we all know, water is essential for all living beings on Earth. However, humanity now faces the depletion of these vital water resources. The global water purifier market continues to expand, having reached a value of $35 billion in 2024 and projected to double by 2034. In South Korea, the use of water purifiers is common. It is not because the municipal water is bad. It is because of the old water supply lines, and the convenience for use. But now consumers are increasingly seeking not only clean and safe water, but also healthy and tasty premium water. They are also demanding sustainability in drinking water consumption. Water purifiers are environmentally friendly as they use municipal tap water, helping to preserve underground aquifers and eliminate the use of PET bottles. Nanofiltration systems in particular use less water during purification while incorporating the mineral cartridges that deliver clean, safe, and mineral-rich water. Kyowon Wales has developed a nanofiltration water purifier equipped with mineral cartridges to offer consumers a premium water solution that is both healthy and palatable. While reverse osmosis systems remain common, the water purifier industry is undergoing a paradigm shift towards nanofiltration. Global longevity villages such as Gonzalo, Bama, and Yeun all have access to water-rich minerals, especially calcium and magnesium. Drinking of such mineral-rich water is considered one of the key factors contributing to long life and well-being. Researchers highlight the health benefits of silica, which supports collagen formation in connective tissues, helps maintain the vascular elasticity, and potentially lowering the risk of Alzheimer's disease by removing aluminum from brain tissue. In this particular, we examined the text profile changes upon adding a silica cartridge to the existing calcium, magnesium, and potassium system, and reviewed the cost benefits of the purified water based on the applied mineral concentration levels. By identifying the optimal mineral blending ratio that enhances both taste and health benefits, we established the theoretical backgrounds for the development of a water purifier that delivers healthy mineral-enriched water with excellent taste quality. The taste quality of water was assessed by Korean National Best Water Surveys from KISA. You see water that feel Hanakim, raise your hand. And the health benefits of each mineral were verified based on existing dietary reference intakes to drinking water, not just RDA, as reported in the literature. The Wells Slimon water purifier is the first in Korea to introduce a 3-stage mineral filtration system, combining carbon, nano, and plus mineral cartridges to provide clean, safe, healthy, and tasty water, enriched with calcium, magnesium, potassium, and silica. The cartridges are maintained and replaced upon usage according to the flow stages through a regular vegetation management system. Both diets often result in insufficient and imbalanced mineral intake. As shown in the table, there are significant differences between RDA, or each mineral, and the permissible mineral levels in drinking water. The mineral levels containing in Wells Slimon purified water are within these permissible mineral levels and are comparable to those found in Korea's natural mineral water and natural spring water, known to either health benefits. And comparing to the RO treated water and purified water from other brands, Wells Slimon offers significantly higher mineral levels, especially calcium and silica, often a practical solution for mineral supplementation through daily hydration as a premium mineral water purifier. The taste quality of Wells Slimon purified water was also evaluated. Minerals determined mouthfeel and structure and balance of the water taste. A panel of sommelier confirmed that adding a silica cartridge enhances taste quality. The superior taste and mouthfeel quality achieved by adding the silica cartridge was documented through water flavor profiling. The panel also assessed the impact of mineral blending ratios, confirming that the interactions among minerals affect taste and mouthfeel quality of purified water. The optimal mineral blending ratio was finely adjusted and the result was visually presented through water flavor profiling. Launched on April 1st this year, the Wells Slimon mineral purifier offers consumers a daily experience of healthy mineral water with a perfect taste you can trust. By combining calcium, magnesium, potassium, and the silica cartridges, it provides a globally competitive, unique premium water solution with health functionality and excellent taste in a sustainable manner. We believe this innovation is contributing to the advancement of global standards in purified water quality. After this session, you are kindly invited to experience the delicious and healthy Wells Slimon purified water and the lab is installed.
We will certainly try your water and we can tasting of water anyway later so we can cool there. Let me just clarify, Sadik. During this purification process, silica is added in fact to the water?
Yes.
And the minerals are just retained at a higher level or also added to the water?
The minerals are coated on the ceramic bowl and it's eventually eliminates the minerals into the purified water. And then after the usage, they can replace the cartridge to the Yeun.
Right. Thank you very much.
Pala.
Mr. Takuzoreida from Japan, you have some innovation as well on the area of water purification. Can you tell us about that?
With use of some phosphoric gas. And it is my great pleasure and honor to be here, invited for this very special international conference of water. Of course, it's my pastime because I'm a molecular chemist, and my expertise probably very different from many of you and attending this conference. But I believe that I share the same concern about the future of this planet. In 1950, a human being started to manufacture plastic materials. And the amount is huge, and only some of the amount we produce so far is reaching the 11 billion tons. And it's surprising by. And then we have recycled only 9% of the plastic. And but others, we probably incinerate the plastics, or we bury the plastic in the underground, or we just dump into the environment. Then as a consequence, we generate a huge amount of carbon dioxide, which accelerates global warming, as you can see from many natural disasters, but not see it in our childhood. And also you can produce microplastics that are everywhere in my climate, not only in the ocean, but also on the ground or in the air. So it's a big problem. But even under such a situation, we still continuously manufacture plastics. And it is anticipated that up to the year of 2050, the total amount of plastic we manufacture is going to be 3 times larger than we produce so far. So it's going to be the serious problem for this planet. Honestly, I was the kind of scientist way joining research. But 5 years ago, I really had a strong motivation to suppress this type of issue. How chemists can do for suppressing the pollution of our light. And first thing we really wanted to do is to develop an alternative to plastics that are quite similar in appearance and mechanical properties to current oil-based plastics, but are totally different in the sense that they can be designed to deteriorate very soon or disappear, never whole microplastics. Tomorrow, I'm going to give 2 short talks, one of which is highlighting our answer to this scientific request. The name of the product is supramodular plastics that are very safe but mechanically very strong, but are sensitive to salt. So the salt in our environment may take an action to the plastics, and plastic can dissociate into the corresponding compounds, which are then biologically metabolized in the environment. So I think I will please go to the next slide for this. What you see is a picture of plastic we developed. And basic details of this plastic I'm going to talk tomorrow. So this one topic I'm going to talk tomorrow. The other one is related to the fundamental aspect strategy of how we can accelerate the water and seawater desalination, and that potentially can address an issue of and shortage of drinkable water in the future. So I'm very much looking forward to discuss with all of you on these two topics tomorrow. Thank you.
Bonito, as my friend, I mean, it's a little really very mysterious. There is a magical solution, but you will not say anything about that today.
Yes.
But I understanding correctly, your development really is the replacement for plastics, which is the most otherwise plastics.
Yes, actually we do many things for making plastic more practical, but I think in the future, this type of concept may change the world.
And the main point here is that while the degrading, it does not degrade the microplastics.
It disappear. Yeah.
But is it disappear?
They never hold microplastic because they dissolve into seawater and then they are metabolize biological.
Totally.
Yes, that's it.
Well, that's a place that's it. I think another reason to stay here, but also tomorrow's lectures. Thank you. Gonzalo, I never know exactly how to pronounce your name because to me, I was saying Meschengieser being in the neighborhood of Austria. Yeah, a little good difference view. Today, not a renovation in the field of materials, but view on supply of water in Argentina specifically or Latin America. Latin America, sorry. Yeah, okay. Understand. Thank you, Aleš. During the last panel, the panelists address the challenges in water supply. So I will try to share some ideas regarding the answers to these challenges. Okay. In the first place, I would like to highlight the fact that I'd like to talk about innovation, not innovation, in the first place, because we have solutions that are not linked to technology. For instance, human behavior. There is a trend called behavioral insights. There are a lot of tools that we use to understand how the consumers drink water, protect water at their homes, at their basin, under the concept of water stewardship. There are regulatory innovation. I love one case in Colombia, in South America, in which the government gives a river the rights as a human. It's the case of the Magdalena Basin. For Colombians, rivers are like a person. You are not allowed to harm, to drop trash to the river because you have to treat it as a human. I love the concept of water footprint. Water footprint is the amount of water that an industry needs to produce 1 unit of a manufacturer. Where you produce something in one country and sell the product to other country, this water embedded in the products became virtual water. And this virtual water are going to reshape the international trade in the moment in which tariffs are being discussed on the table. Virtual water are going to be one of the factors that we can affect the international commerce. And finally, I would like to talk about technology. Microgrids, DMAs, micro-measurement, digital twins, satellite images. We are going to talk 1 minute of each one because I think that this is really important. In the first place, I would like to tell you that in the past we used to look for big solutions, great infrastructure, dams. We try to build a lot of infrastructure to ensure water supply to populations. Nowadays, governments, companies, NGOs realize that we have to develop local solutions, not the big one. Bill Gates is one of the sponsors of this kind of view. Microgrids is a concept that arose strong last year, which says that we shouldn't sectorize the networks, but we should supply each of the units of the network. Have you heard about this concept? It's not easy, and it came from electricity sector. In the past, water utilities used to have one network, the whole city connected, okay? When you open a tap, we are receiving water from the very place in which the company produced the potable water. Then companies started to sectorize the network. Enrique is going to talk about it, I suppose, because he's a specialist. This concept was drifting meters areas. But nowadays, what happened? In large cities, as São Paulo in Brazil, Montevideo, Buenos Aires, Cartagena, one part of the city can run out of water, okay? But on the other place, maybe 100 kilometers far away, the community can have water supply at this moment. So the company should be able to redistribute this water in a reverse form, okay? Changing the direction of water. And the only way to achieve that goal is to be able to manage the network. And for that reason, it is key that every part of the city has their own source of water. So this is the technology, this is the innovation that cities are applying at this moment to overcome the challenge of drought, of climate change, of emerging pollutants as well, because it happens that one source of the water can be infected, polluted, or worse. In Buenos Aires, the city where I live, a couple of weeks ago, we have an outbreak of salmonella, typhoid fever, a disease of the past. You remember when you studied at the primary school, salmonella was very usual in the ancient empire and another one. But it is crazy, it's amazing, but all diseases are becoming more usual nowadays, again. So water supplies is key to keep our population safe. Okay, well, thank you very much. If I have time after, I can give you further information. Thank you, Aleš.
Thank you, Gonzalo. It's an interesting concept that we can innovate through regulation. And if I understood correctly, we have a case of getting human rights to a river. And basically then, who is the defender of the river? The river, does the river then hire a lawyer or something?
Yes, the Magdalena Basin, Kosovo.
The honor is building the industry for use of water, which sounds quite similar to what we have with CO2, emission coupons in Europe. It has positive and negative sides. Is there any further thought on implementation of that?
Well, the blue bonds exist, but they are related to ocean management more than water supply expansion. I think, from our point of view, in the short term, markets are going to regulate the use of water and selling bonds to fund new networks. There is a case
famous in Colorado, in California, in which government used to sell futures of water. They are not bonds, they are a future of water. This is arguable that a common good for the population is going to be sold in the market, in the stock market. But well, I have not the answer. We can discuss during one part of the
Certainly very interesting, quite really special.
And the third solution which you mentioned is microgrids, which can be connected and reconnected as the occasion requires. So basically having independent sources of water distributed and then connected to supply
where the supply is needed. Is that approximately the idea? Yeah. Regarding your question, let me tell you something that I forgot. A month ago, 2 months ago, when Trump was appointed as a president, Elon Musk told to the press that the next draft will be of energy, of power, not water. But this is a lie because they are linked. You cannot have water without energy, and you cannot have energy without water. So microgrid depends on both sides, in water and in power. The trend is that water utilities and power utilities match in one. Is the case of Medellin in Colombia. Again, nowadays, as what is not profitable for companies, they are looking for produced energy. And for the first time in history, last year, water utilities have more profitability from energy than from water. So it is supposed, and the decades to come, energy company is going to take control of water utilities and be able to develop the concept of microgrids better. And now, this is what we see.
Okay.
At this moment.
But the interesting debates, considering that some countries like Slovenia had the right to drinking water or in their constitution, and that would be non-profits, which went of house against that. So yeah, interesting, affiliate. And I'm also curious, you referred already to America, Enrique Gustavo Acosta, about the practical proposal, the solution, which is surprising to everyone who knows about this chemical being a company not really something we think about completely with water.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so thank you. Yes, Spermeco, these are 80 years company here in Slovenia, and we are quite more driving also for water. And the reason of this is that when we speak about water distribution, when you are at home and you just open your tap, there is a company behind this that try to manage all the aspects, how to take the water from the river, from the wells, from the treatment plant, and deliver this water to your home in a good quality. And here in Slovenia specifically, we are very lucky because we can just open the tap and we can drink the water. So it's a very, very good quality of water, but it's not the same case worldwide. But where we see that the technology could help really the water utilities all over the world is that they have a lot of losses, water losses from the water source until in front of your house, you know. So we are saying an average about 40% is the water losses. So when Gonzalo say here about electricity is very important because one of the major costs of this water transportation is electricity, chemicals, and so on. And could you imagine that you are just trashing this resource over the pipes? So the technology nowadays, it's improving a lot in terms of sensors, in terms of water treatment, desalination, especially in the Gulf area. Desalination becomes more and more important. For example, in Saudi, in the north, in Yeun, they just started now 1 year ago a desalination plant, completely CO2 free, So this is very important to combine the technology and also the environment. But when we say about this road that the water comes and it's a lot of losses, like Gonzalo also said, you have a lot of technology to identify the leakage, satellite, correlation, data communication. But there is one important device on these that are the meters. The meters are the boundary between this water utility and the end customer, and becomes more and more, let's say, common to use what they call smart meters. You know, worldwide you're using a lot of the traditional mechanical meters that you have the information just once a month, what are your consumption. But with the smart meters, you can have daily consumption, hourly data, some alarms, and we see some initiatives like in Italy that they are investing a huge amount of money, billions of dollars, motivated by the European Bank. It's financed this with this big program with the utilities that they are already replaced. They have 17 meters installed. They are already contract to replace about 10 million meters that they still change to 7 million meters. Here in Slovenia, they have some utilities that already started to use these. We see worldwide some countries that are more advanced, some countries that is starting to make this change. And why this change is important? It's because if you map the behavior of your end customers to use water, you can control better the production of water and the distribution of water. You can implement algorithms to manage the reservoirs, to pump the water when the electricity are not so expensive. You can also, like we are working and seeing in Saudi, they are going to make a massive change of the metering area, and they want the meter not as a meter but as a sensor in the network, because they are going to have valves, they're going to have pressure, they are going to have GPS to see exactly where the meters are. And the challenge for all this technology in water is the power supply. As you know, in electricity, you have the meters with electricity and you can transmit the data. And in water, some places in the network or if in the houses needs to be standalone. So you need to be very creative in terms of technology to provide all these informations about the water consumption, transmit this data remotely, and save battery, you know. So this is one of the big challenges, but the message here is that the improvement on this device to measure and to see the consumption profile, it's very important to help the water utilities to manage better all the distribution channels. And I think that without the technology, it will be almost impossible. And all these, we can stay here the whole afternoon debating about this subject, because all these AI, machine learning and so on becomes more common in a sector that probably 10 years ago got not so advanced. But now with all this data that the devices are getting from the water network becomes quite common. So the message here is technology will help a lot to manage this so important resource that unfortunately today worldwide we are still missing the opportunity to do not work properly in all these losses.
Thank you. And for this Robusta, so it's reassuring to hear that Israel is still staying in the business of meters. They excel that you are expanding to the water device as well. We were used to having mechanical meters for water, and now the proposal is to have the smart meters, which obviously is some power.
Yeah. We still have some customers that purchase, but here in Slovenia, we are just, let's say, developing and manufacturing these smart meters.
And the idea is that you can increase efficiency through knowing the consumption patterns.
Yes. And more than the meters now becomes a big ecosystem because it's the meters, the communication, the apps that you have in the mobile that you can see your consumption, compare it with your neighbor consumptions and the other consumptions, of course, hiding who is making the consumption, but you can take care more about your profile as a user of water.
But it does just indirectly influence the losses of water in the grid, does that?
Yes, absolutely.
Having less pressure when it's not in it, then you count on having less losses at it.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. You mentioned a few times desalination, and this really, you mentioned as one, Mr. Aitan. And this really brings us to our next speaker, who will join us online from Saudi Arabia. Are you in Saudi Arabia or somewhere else?
Yes, I'm in Saudi Arabia right now. All right. We are very happy to have your colleagues here
and very keen to hear about how Saudi Arabia is solving its problem of water sources and increased water demand.
Okay, Matt, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, and the apologies that I was supposed to be there, but unforeseen circumstances, I had to join online. But again, thank you so much. I heard a couple of the, our panelists, they mentioned about Saudi Arabia and, energy and, water costs, etc. I think Saudi Arabia is a very unique city, a unique country in this sense, because we have a water ecosystem is so interconnected, and then if one part of the ecosystem is not functioning well, we don't have any natural water sources. So, for example, most of the places that we have in the kingdom, we don't have groundwater readily available. And the readily available groundwater is not always, ready to be used in the households. So when you look at the ecosystem in Saudi Arabia, so we're looking at the production, of course. We have around 7 to 8 BPs per day seawater desalination, and then we have additional 4-5 cubic per meter per day brackish water desalination water supply. And if we consider the energy consumption, it's much different than, using river water. We are talking about, with the high salinity sea, we're talking about 60-70 bar pressure applied to run the desalination. So desalination is our biggest water source, including, brackish water, which is relatively cheaper. But again, this portion of the brackish water supply, desalinated water supply is relatively less than the seawater desalination. We are increasing, of course, the water production from both seawater and brackish water. We have groundwater sources. We have very high water table, especially on the west coast of the kingdom. So we are continuously increasing our water supply capacity. But when we look at the challenges, and that was one of the things that one of the biggest challenges in the kingdom is that we are spending a lot of energy to produce the water, and then we pump this water to inlet. Just give one example, to supply water to Riyadh, the capital. We have to pump water from East Coast to Riyadh to up to 600-700 meter elevation. So that puts another 60-70 bar, energy consumption, the pressure consumption, which is electricity and then energy, to the cost. And then we store the water. We don't have huge storage opportunities because it's produced water and it's, from a sea and on the desalination plex. So we cannot store this water for a long time. So we can maybe store it 4 days, 5 days. And then we have some storage issues. And then we distribute. And again, one of the panelists mentioned that, water losses are a big issue. Like everywhere else in the world, we are looking at around 40-45% water loss. So if we consider the energy that we already spend to desalinate seawater and then pump it to 600-700 meters elevation and then lose it around half of it, that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. And, we are very, very aware of it in the kingdom. And we are working not only in the Sally Water Authority, but as a whole ecosystem as among our, priority areas to focus. How we can and reduce the cost of water collection, reduce the cost of water transmission, and reduce the water loss, non-diluted water numbers in the kingdom. Another thing was the meters that I really appreciate that came because that's one of the things that we're also working on. The meters, smart meters, yes, we have smart meters, but we need to use smart meters to their full capacity. As mentioned before, the panel, smart meters can also be used for the leak detection in a sense. Of course, we need a lot of data manipulation, data mining, and application, probably AI, it including. So we are looking at, not only the distribution, but also B3, because we are looking at the whole DMA or the DRZ, because we mentioned not from the top to bottom report, but also bottom the ACA report as well, and how we can look at the water balance. And then the following question, and again, because we are the Desalination Water Authority, we have to deal with all sorts of water issues. Another issue comes with the collection of the sewage, and then how we collect more efficiently, and how we can treat this water, and how we can reuse this water. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is one of the first countries in the Middle East that allows treated wastewater to be used in the irrigation, edible crop irrigation. And we are very proud of our, regulations and our rules and laws and that one. So we have different, level of treatment of sewage water, and then we have the different regulations for how this water can be used. Majority of the treated wastewater we use for the environment, as you probably know, the more green the cities are, the less temperature the cities, see, and then it induces energy consumption on the air conditioning, etc. And then we also work with other partners, other stakeholders, how we can fully utilize this treated sewage, treated wastewater into irrigation. Again, because the water is so expensive or so valuable here, we have to make sure that we can utilize the water to the finest extent. To mention a little bit of an ecosystem, we are very lucky in the kingdom because we have a single entity that covers the entire water ecosystem, which is Ministry of Environment and Water and Agriculture, NEVA. And under NEVA, we have Saudi Water Authority. So we are the regulator. We call ourselves Regulator Plus because our plus comes from innovation. We have a huge emphasis on innovation. We have several different entities within the Saudi Water Authority. Two of my colleagues are there. One of them from Saudi Water Innovation Center, and the other one is from Vitira, our research center. Please reach out to them, and they can explain much clearer what their parts are doing, and what kind of innovations we have, what kind of support we have for the innovative global collaborations, how we can bring technologies to the kingdom, how we can adopt technologies, and how we can initiate collaborations and global solutions to not only Saudi Arabia but also the rest of the world. Please reach out to them. I'm pretty sure they're already really, effectively reaching everyone out. And they will be more than happy to, answer any of your questions. And from Saudi Water Authority, as I was explaining, we have Ministry Saudi Water Authority, and we have different semi-government, companies. National Water Company is in charge of distributing the water, charging the water with the meters, and collecting the wastewater and treating the wastewater. We have SWCC and the Saudi Salag Water Conversion Corporation, which is in charge of all the desalination plants that run by the government. We have VETCO, water transmission company, that gets the water, desalinated water to inlands and inside the country. We have around 13,000 kilometer transmission lines. These are all highly pressurized, around 30 bars. And then we have SIO, which is Saudi Irrigation Authority organization. They take the treated wastewater and they use it for irrigation purposes. Suppose, innovation, also full application. And we are very lucky because we are a single entity in a way. So we have like a one big entity, and the vision of the entity is very, very good. And we are following Saudi Vision 2030. And we are very lucky to have that vision from the leaders of the country and also leaders of the ministry and our authority to support everything related to water to the finest extent. I can talk more about the other projects, but as I mentioned, we have so many. We also fund a lot of research and global collaborations, as I mentioned, from TRL 1 to 7. And then when we come to TRL 7, we can actually find, internal collaborations and internal funding for full-scale application. Again, if you have any questions about any of our portfolio, and I'm happy to answer now as much as I can, as much as the time allows me. But if you have, further questions or more detail, please reach out to my colleagues on the ground, and they will be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much, Mr. South. This was really very interesting to hear that the whole water supply in Saudi Arabia is centralized, in fact, and all the companies that are answering to you, basically. It was also the bread. It's just like we are the regulators, so they're answering basically to the government, but we have the control of what needs to be done, and we also have the authority to suggest them the best solutions or novel solutions, etc. So they're not directly answering us; they're answering to their people eventually. But again, we have the regulatory power as the authority. Accurate. It was also interesting to hear that relation between power and water. We spoke about that already in the first title, that on the top really have water cycle and energy equation. And the issue of power was emphasized a few times. Now we, of course, consider Saudi Arabia as power rich, but still it sounds like a lot of power. What are we definitely show? Most of it, of course, we have the power plants because we have the production, the fossil fuels on site. So we have the power plants. We are using mainly, we are switching everything to almost to natural gas because it's more, environmentally friendly instead of burning the old school fuel oils. Again, this is power intensive process. The water and water ecosystem is power intensive process. We are trying to do our best to reduce our carbon footprint. So with the innovative technologies, etc. And one of the other projects that we're working to use the seawater as a carbon sink to reduce the pH and then use the pH as a carbon sink from the carbon dioxide balance. So we have carbon capture projects that we are also working on for the full scale. Because as you can imagine that, all these people we are living at the moment, the outside is 42 degrees Celsius. So I have to be under the air-conditioned area. So of course, these are all highly power consumption areas. And also we have the water production. So again, our energy consumption is mainly, we are using the natural gas with of course, the latest stage of power production capacity. And then, from there, we're trying to reduce it by using the carbon capture and other processes. And what about the renewable sources of energy? I understand that you're also going to that direction. Yes, there's a huge investment happening in the kingdom right now to convert the majority of power supply to the solar and other renewables. In our case, because we are mainly on the water, but we are working on some integration of renewable energies into the water system, water production system. So, for example, we have some solar panels.
solar panel, solar-powered desalination systems, both inland and on the seaside. We are also trying to integrate renewable energy into the transmission lines, so how we can reduce the electric consumption. And also we are trying to implement some areas, especially in the north. We have a lot of wind areas, so we are looking for wind turbines and how we can integrate.
Actually, one of my colleagues on the side, he is the leader of a renewable energy group in our research institute. He will be very, very happy to talk to about renewable energy and what we are doing in the water sector. Thank you very much. We're concluding this part of the second panel. And just to roll the final line, we have heard the solutions from technological solutions at the consumer side to the top level supply and the possibilities for innovation even on the regulatory side and on the increasing efficiency of the new materials. We're looking forward to hear about that tomorrow. But for now, I would like to thank all the panelists, and I'm sure you would be asking the next panelists. Thank you.